this is Anthony from AC Guitar Tuition, and my camera's just a little bit too low, so I'm going to go over and sort it out. Today we're going to look at a lesson that's hopefully going to help you create your own signature licks. So licks, what is a lick? What are licks? I would describe a lick as being either one of two things, either a repeating pattern, so that classic lick that everyone knows, or as a means to get from A to B on the neck of the guitar. So if your first note is there and then your target note is the lick would be formed in between those two notes, so something like that. But anyway, I'm going to be focusing on that first idea, that repeating pattern lick. Now, when I first started playing guitar, I was a massive fan, still am, probably the biggest fan in the entire world of a band called Metallica. The lead guitarist of which is called Mr. Kirk Hammett, if you didn't already know. And as far as I'm concerned, he's one of the masters when it comes to coming up with interesting licks. Yeah, no prizes for guessing what two songs they were meant to be from. So I'd listen to his licks and his music and his crazy solos, and I'd try and come up with my own. And they never had that cool factor, that memorable lick. When I would try and write my own licks, they'd end up sounding a bit like this. Yeah, they had a similar kind of speed, but they didn't have that cool sound, and I didn't know why mine was so forgetful and his was so memorable. And then I figured it out. It's all about the rhythm. So if we go back to that Fade to Black example, there's a rhythm implied throughout that entire lick, and it's this. And that's what makes it so memorable. The notes, yeah, it's fast and it sounds cool because it's a bit fast and it sounds impressive, but it's essentially that rhythm that sticks in your head. You know, it's that ba 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 that makes it such a effective lick. So I've used that idea, that concept, that using rhythm to create licks as a kind of a basis for a method that I've come up with that's meant to help people and me, help us all try and sound like Kirk Hammett by coming up with our own licks, coming up with memorable licks. So step one, you've got to first find out what key signature you're in, and it's pretty much always going to be 4/4 unless you're in some kind of Dream Theater tribute act. So we're in 4/4 throughout this entire lesson. And I'm also going to be in the key of B minor throughout, but not only that, I'm only going to be using the top two strings for two reasons. One, so you know where I am on the neck, so I'm not just always changing key throughout all the examples and confusing things. And secondly, just so you can see how inventive you can be in just one small area of the neck. So yeah, going back to step one, we're in 4/4. And 4 crotchet beats to a bar. Let's just play those crotchets, keep it simple. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Really boring. It sounds nothing like a lick just yet. So let's fill in those gaps. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and still just one note. Sounds really boring still. So if we change those and notes, those quaver notes, those offbeat notes, whatever you want to call them, to the neighbouring notes, then we're going to start creating licks. In my opinion, we're going to start creating cool sounding licks. So I'm going to be using the notes D flat and B and interchange them. So we've still got that really simple, but then we're filling the gaps with other surrounding notes So if I just put a little bit of distortion on, play it just a little bit faster, we're already approaching lick territory. So that's it. It's kind of a two-step approach. Your first step, come up with an interesting sounding rhythm. Your second step, fill in the gaps with surrounding notes. So the lick I played, that is good, sounds okay, and might sound good if you go up and down. You can get it a lot faster than that, but I can't be bothered, so if you want to, then you can. But I'm moving on because I don't think it's really that interesting. So I'm going to back to step one and come up with a more interesting rhythm, in my opinion. I keep saying in my opinion, everything from hereafter is my opinion. Okay, so for this one, I'm going to make it a little bit more interesting. Go back to our first step. 1, 2, 3, 4. We've got 4 beats in each bar, but I think that's a bit boring, so let's go for just crotchet, quavers, crotchet, quavers. 1, 2 and 3, 4 and 1, 2 and 3, 4 and it's worth mentioning now that it's not just the rhythm that can be changed, also the melody. So change those notes. 1, 2 and 3, 4 and 1, 2 and 3, 4 and now the second step is to fill in the gaps with surrounding notes. Yeah, a really simple one. You can just go. Yeah, and get that sounding really fast and go all the way up and down the neck. It's going to sound fast, it's going to sound impressive, but it's also going to be memorable because it's got this ba 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 ba. And I won't be able to play it too fast, but you get the idea. A bit of practice with that and you can get it sounding blisteringly fast, I'm sure. But again, you really are limited by your imagination. If you don't like the sound of that, then you don't have to fill the gaps with those notes. You could fill the gaps with other notes. So yeah, I think that sounds really cool, and that's a lick that I really like, just discovered, so a bit more distortion. And I don't know about you, but that note is just begging to resolve to its neighbouring note down a fret. Let's have a listen to it. Yeah, it'll get there with a bit more practice, but hopefully you listen to that and you think, yeah, the man's got a point, it's interesting, it's shreddy sounding, you know, if I put a bit more practice in and got it sounding faster, because after all, playing as fast as you can is what guitar playing's all about. Yeah, you get the idea. So just to recap, this two-step approach to creating your own licks. If you're in 4/4, come up with your interesting rhythm. And then change the notes if you like. And then your second step, fill in the gaps with surrounding notes. And that is quite a tricky lick to play. So this is a really good idea, a good method of practice, because a lot of times, if you're anything like me, you'll sit down at your guitar and you'll just play all those licks that you know and love for hours, watching your favourite programme, and then you'll come away and think, I'm not getting any better on guitar. What this is doing is It's making you play things that your mind is coming up with. You know, you're using the instrument for its primary function. You play the guitar, it's not the other way around. You're coming up with these ideas, so you're having to translate it to your hands and force them into playing things that they're not really used to. I mean, that... That's a tricky lick, but I'm going to definitely work on it. And I know that it's worth practicing, because if it sounds good slow, it's going to sound amazing fast. So I hope this lesson has been of at least some use to you, and I've not just been rambling on at the camera for the last 10 minutes. Give me a comment in the comment section below, and like and subscribe and all that rubbish, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.